documenting application dates. So today is about TRID, auditing TRID, but I don't think you can properly review a file from a TRID standpoint without understanding the intersection, at least at a high level, of the other regulations that are at play with respect to the definition of an application. So when we crack open loan files, what we're looking for, okay, one of the more immediate things is, what's the application date, the date of the request? Well, it used to be simple. We were only looking for Reg B. Well, when they brought TRID to the table, okay, and then HMDA has kind of been there lurking regardless, because, you know, if you're a HMDA bank, you had to deal with that anyway. But we've got these three different regulations that all use the term application, but they don't define it the same way. So from a Reg B's purpose, Reg B has two different definitions of an application, actually. There is the very broad, okay, oral or written request for credit. By the way, that's the important one. Okay, the more important one, it's the one that triggers regulatory compliance. Things like intent to apply, collecting demographic information, the appraisal notice, that sort of thing is an oral or written request for credit. Well, HMDA, when it was rewritten a few years back, they took a look at their application definition too, and they said, you know what, we like what that Reg B thing is saying, but we need a little more, because we're the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act. We need a property identified that's a dwelling. And so it's Reg B's definition, oral or written request plus a dwelling. TRID looked at both of them because it's the newest of the three, and they said, oh, we don't want anything that broad. Okay, if we have to put together a 3-page loan estimate and other accompanying disclosures, we want to have a little bit more information. Not a lot more, but a little more. We're going to narrow this thing down. Now, when I say narrow it down, not by a lot. What they said is, all right, that oral or written request stuff, yeah, we want that. Okay, HMDA got to have a property identity, yeah, we want that. Okay, but we're going to go oral or written request, property address, plus 5 other things. So the TRID 6 was born. So it's a narrower definition, but not by a lot. But that's what's going to trigger the TRID disclosures. So the reason I bring all that up, from an auditing perspective, when we look at the loan file, if all they're doing is identifying a singular application date, they're just setting themselves up for failure, because in a perfect world, all three of these would be the same 100% of the time, but that's not, we don't live in a perfect world. Sometimes we have the oral or written request happen here. Okay, maybe it was 3 weeks ago. Then they identify the property. Well, now we have HMDA, but maybe we're still missing something for TRID that comes in and trickles in a couple days later. So in theory, all 3 dates could be different some of the time. We could have 2 of 3 dates that are the same, okay, but one of them's different some of the time. But here's what I can guarantee you, okay? Nowhere will 100% of the time all 3 dates be the same. Okay? And so if we have our files set up where we're only identifying a singular application date, okay, we know right out of the gates that there's a problem, and that's a discussion point that you'll have to have with the institution that you're doing or providing or doing the review, the audit for, and that at that time. Along those lines, page number 5 through 7 in your books, 5 through 8 is kind of a continuation of that discussion that we just had. But application dates obviously are going to be a big deal when you're taking a look at loan files and auditing. They need to be clearly documented, and then everything needs to be accounted for relative to the different definitions of an application date. They also, set up the, what's to come next.